Hello friends, myself Professor B.D. Bhoknal, Associate Professor, Botany Department, KTHM College, Nasik. Now today's topic is Bryophytes. Now within that bryophyte, characters of now the bryophytes. Now bryophytes. Now Mercantia, Anthoceros and Polytrachum. Now in case of Mercantia, the plant body is thalloid, there is no differentiation of root, stem and leaves. Now in case of Mercantia, the sporophyte, it is present on the dorsal side of thallus, a stalk-like structure known as a receptacle, and this receptacle it bears the spore producing structure, that is sporophyte. While in case of Anthoceros, now in case of Anthoceros, now the spore producing structure, it is generally present on the dorsal side of thallus, and the sporophyte, it is distinguished into now bulbous foot and capsule only. Seta is totally absent in case of Anthoceros sporophyte. Now in case of Anthoceros, there is also the plant body is thalloid, there is no differentiation of root, stem and leaves. While in case of Polytrachum, plant body it is not thalloid, it is distinguished into now the axis and leaf like structure. Now in case of Polytrachum, sporophyte is distinguished into foot, seta and capsule. Next, what is bryophyte? Bryophytes are a group of plant species that reproduce via spores rather than flowers or seeds. Most bryophytes are found in damp environment and consist of three types of non-vascular land plants. They are such as the mosses, hornworts, and the liverworts. Now see within the diagrams. Now the Mercantia, Anthoceros, and Polytrachum. Next. Now the characters of the bryophytes. The bryophytes are terrestrial in habitat. It means it is found on land, such as Rixia robusta, while some bryophytic plants are aquatic in habitat, for example Rixia flotans, which is commonly found at Venna Lake at Mahabaleshwar. Then now the Riella, then the Sphagnum, these are the aquatic forms. Now the bryophytic plant body is divided into two distinct generations, now the gametophytic generation and the sporophytic generation. The gametophytic generation, which is haploid, while the sporophytic generation, now which is diploid in nature. Now the sporophyte is dependent on gametophyte for its nutrition. Now in case of bryophyte, plant body is thalloid, or in some member it is not thalloid. Now in case of Mercantia, where the plant body is thalloid, there is no differentiation of root, stem and leaves, While in case of Polytrichum plant body, it is not thalloid, it is distinguished into rhizoids, axis, and leaf-like structure. Then the multicellular scales are present on thalloid forms. These multicellular scales are now violet in color and they protect the growing point of bryophyte, and they are present towards the margin of now the bryophytic thallus. The vascular tissue is totally absent in case of bryophyte. The rhizoids are present in place of root. Plant body, it is differentiated into two main zones. Upper, that is photosynthetic zone, and the lower, that is storage zone. Upper photosynthetic zone, it consists of many photosynthetic lamellae or chlorophyllous cells. Now these consist of air pores and air chamber. It open outside by means of air pore, and this region it do the function of photosynthesis. Then the lower region is known as now the storage region. It is made up of now the parenchyma tissue. It stored the food material, and that's why this region is generally known as storage region. Reproduction, it take place vegetative and sexual method. Now the vegetative reproduction it generally takes place by adventitious branch formation. Now during the growth and development, now the bryophytic thallus, the older thallus is decayed and the new now bryophytic thallus it develop into new individual. Likewise, and such type of reproduction is generally known as now the adventitious branch formation type of now the vegetative reproduction. Then tuber formation. Now these tubers are formed nearby now the rhizoid, and these tubers now we detach from the parent plant and get give rise to new individual now the likewise. Then the gyma body formation. Now these gyma body or these gyma bodies they are present on the dorsal side of now the thallus of Mercantia plant. Now it consists of gyma cup. It consists of now the large number of the lens shaped bodies known as gyma body. Now the gyma body it detached from the gyma cup, and when it is fallen on moist soil at that time it develop into new individual or new bryophytic plant. In this way now the vegetative reproduction it generally take place by gyma body formation. Then the sexual reproduction. Now the sexual reproduction is generally oogamous type. It is advanced type of now reproduction. Now the male sex organ is generally known as antheridium and the female sex organ is generally known as archegonium. Now the antheridia are club shape. Then single antheridia it has multicellular stalk and one cell thick jacket layer. The jacket layer it encloses large number of androgonial now mother cell. The androgonial mother cell it is converted into large number of anthrozoids. Then archegonia. Now the archegonia are flask shape. This archegonia it has also multicellular stalk and flask shaped body. Archegonium it is divided into now two part. It has now swollen venter and pointed neck. Now the archegonium, venter consists of venter canal cell and the egg apparatus. Now the neck consists of the cover cell, neck canal cell, neck cell, etc. Then the water is essential for the process of fertilization in case of bryophyte. Now during the process of fertilization, now the large number of anthrozoids they take part in the process of fertilization, but among them only single anthrozoid it fuses with the egg and it generally forms the zygote. The zygote which is generally diploid because single set of chromosome it comes from anthrozoids, another single set of chromosome it comes from now the egg. So that now the zygote which is generally now diploid. Then this diploid zygote develop into sporophyte. It divide and redivide and it develop into sporophyte. Then the sporophyte it is differentiated into now the fruit, seta and capsule. Now the spore mother cell it undergoes for reduction division. Then it generally form the haploid spores. That is the reduction division. Then the spore they are intermixed with a sterile structure known as elaters. Now these elaters are useful for dehiscence and dispersal of spore. Now the spores on germination now they give rise to now protonema in case of now the bryophyte. Then protonema it has two types of branches. Now the chloronemal branch and rhizoidal branch. Now with the help of rhizoidal branch, now it fixes within the soil or mud, then it absorbs the water and minerals from the soil. Then the chloronemal branch, it do the function of now photosynthesis. Then this protonema, now it mature into now the bryophytic plant. Then there are number of examples of now the bryophytic now the plant. For example, now the rixia. Now in case of rixia, the plant body is thalloid. There is no differentiation of root, stem and leaves. Then another example now that is mercantia. Now in case of mercantia also the plant body is thalloid. There is no differentiation of root, stem and leaves. Then the anthoceros. Now in case of anthoceros, there also the plant body is thalloid. Then sphagnum. Now in case of sphagnum, that is the moss. The plant body it is not thalloid, it is distinguished to axis and leaf-like structure. It is commonly known as now the bog moss. Then polytrichum. In case of polytrichum also the plant body now which is not a thalloid it is distinguished into now axis and leaf-like structure. Then pogonatum. Then now funaria. Now here also the plant body it is not thalloid. It is distinguished into axis and leaf-like structure. But here in case of Pelea, now this Pelea it is from younger manuals. So in case of Pelea, now the plant body it is thalloid. There is no differentiation of root, stem and leaves. While in case of Porella, though Porella it is also from younger manual, but it is from leafy younger manuals. So the plant body it is not thalloid, it is distinguished into axis and leaf-like structure. So these are the number of examples of now the bryophyte. Now see here in case of these example, now rixia, thalloid plant body, and the spore producing organ it is present or it is embedded within the thallus. Then in case of anthoceros, now the spore producing organ it is present on the thallus. On the thallus, horn-like processes are present, and due to this, now these it is commonly known as hornworts. Then in case of polytrichum, now the sporophyte, it is distinguished into now the foot, seta, and capsule. Example is now that is polytrichum. Thank you, and that's